All right. So, my name is Tara Santos, and today I'm going to be talking with Kara Foster about functional medicine. I've got a few questions for her. I hope you guys enjoy this and just looking to learn more and hear a little bit more about her story. So, Kara, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Hi, thanks for having me today. A little bit about myself. So I'm based in Troy, Ohio, which is about 30 miles north of Dayton. So that would be the largest city close by. Um, I have a very winding history of professional work, both in education and um, HR and communications. As well as contracted consulting, and found the health coaching world sort of indirectly in 2008. And
Okay.
that's where I practice today.
Wonderful. Thank you. So, what led you into learning a little bit more about functional medicine to begin with?
That was actually part of my health coaching evolution. I was serving as a contracted change management consultant in the corporate world. And fitness had always been a big part of my life. I grew up with a witch doctor mama who had us ignoring sugar and mixing our own essential oils in the backyard before alternative medicine was ever a thing. And so health and fitness had always been a part of my life. And in 2008, I lost my job and had an opportunity in that sort of downturn of the economy to spend a little bit more time on my own health and wellness. And in that time, found CrossFit and immediately wondered where it had been all my life, because CrossFit was really founded in a couple of things. Certainly functional movement. So how do we get up and move well functionally every single day? The second thing was food is at the bottom of any wellness foundation. So how do you make it an integral part of your life? And community. How do you make sure that the people you surround yourself with actually support that type of lifestyle? And it was just a great fit for where I was. So I sort of dove in deep and began learning as much as I could about fitness and injury recovery, but particularly nutrition, and started experimenting a lot with myself, and realized the power of food. So I started working with others on that as a primary way to change or improve their health, particularly in the athletic space, but certainly as you would probably assume in a gym facility, typically you're working with a 98% population of the average person, right, who just wants to be healthy day to day. So doing a whole lot of just whole foods nutrition conversation with folks. And over the course of 2 years, 3 years, I realized that results were sort of up and down. They weren't ever consistent. And in the beginning, we were like, it's just about more exercise and more broccoli. If you just do more broccoli and exercise, right? So you must not be doing enough. And over time, I sort of took a step back, sort of a 30,000-foot view, and said, or maybe it's me. I'm missing something. And that was really sort of the change, the tipping point, right? Where I thought it's really more than just broccoli and more exercise. There's more to this person, right? So that whole person concept that's really foundational in functional medicine got organized in my brain. And so I started really narrowing my professional path to that health coaching space. So how do I become a better facilitator of change in the health and wellness space for others, rather than just dictating to them what I think I'm supposed to tell them to do. So in 2015, I sort of made a commitment that that's what I was going to start focusing on. So I left my contracted consulting position and full-time began seeking as much knowledge as I could in the health and wellness space. And that included reviewing what health coaching looked like in a Google search on the internet today. And I'm quite an analytic. I like evidence. I like authenticity. And I wasn't feeling a whole lot of that in what was coming up. And it definitely wasn't a world that I wanted to be a part of. So I started looking for programs where I could get some additional education, both in the health coaching practical space, meaning how do I work more effectively with clients to draw out the strengths or the change in them, but also on the flip side, just a deeper understanding of the nutritional space and the mind-body space that I didn't know anything about yet.
So thank you for sharing all that. How has some of those things that you mentioned, mind, body, and how, kind of real change actually happens versus just being told what you should do. How have some of those things impacted you, like on a personal level, being able to kind of understand those for yourself?
Remembering that I need to be as authentic as I'm asking my clients to be is probably the most important thing. I spoke a moment ago about food and exercise being the space I was spending the most time in, right? Just eat more broccoli and work out 2 more days a week and things should change. Why aren't they changing? Well, because when sleep and stress are really the bigger issues, doesn't matter, you can't eat enough broccoli to fix, right?
Right.
The fact that you're working 90 hours a week,
Yep.
the fact that you don't sleep well, right? You can't fix that with those 2 things. In fact, you may be making it worse, right? And so that allowed me to do some self-reflection. And I am a very type A, high energy, fill in every minute of the day kind of person. And I wasn't spending enough time in that healthy mind body place. So even things as simple as carving out time to do my devotions early in the morning, spending time working on something like meditation, which just is hard for me to embrace, right? But realizing I could really start with something as simple as 3 minutes of that practice a day, right? And I may only be able to do 3 minutes for a long time, right? So understanding that you really had to take small steps to get to those bigger changes. And that began to change not only how I organized my day, but how I began to interact with what were now health coaching clients. So 3-6 month term coaching clients who really needed me to be in that. It's a process to wellness, right? Not just a diet plan and an exercise plan to wellness.
That's really helpful. Thank you. Yeah, because so many of us want to just start something and jump in and do everything at once, and then we can't, and then we fail and we feel like failures, right? And so those little baby steps is what's actually going to be sustainable and longer term. So thank you. And has there been any sort of a difficulty or something hard about this realm or this world of functional medicine for you that you've kind of had to overcome or get past?
Well, how about speed? Like, let's move faster.
I struggle with that too.
This is the answer. Can we please move faster?
Right.
That would certainly be one, and that's very personal. I feel compelled to use the word resistance, but I think the better word is probably lack of knowledge in the general community, both of the healthcare practitioners and in just the average patient or prospective health coaching client community of what functional medicine is and what it's intended to be for the participating patient, right? I see functional medicine as not only an opportunity for better care, but for better patient engagement and empowerment in their own health long term. And today in the current healthcare industry, we're just not there from a conversation perspective. And so sometimes you're spending a lot of time even educating people first in order to get them to come along with you. So when that's in the patient or the health coaching client space, you can kind of understand that. When it's in the medical space, it can be a little frustrating. Yeah. I was not a sick person who became a health coach as the result of healing myself. I was someone who was, as I shared earlier, helping to facilitate, or at least I thought, helping to enable others or equip others to take care of themselves. And I realized I was really not doing it well, right? And so certainly it's a service-based role that I'm playing. And part of the integrity, humility, and responsibility in that, right, is recognizing that and either choosing to get out or choosing to do it differently. And so I think today, seeing some of that resistance in a space where I personally feel it should be mandatory is hard for me. And then finally, it is an evolution even for family and friends.
Mm-hmm.
And so that community piece that I noted, I recognized as so important in CrossFit, right, is really important to functional medicine. So surrounding yourself with people who are like-minded. And even today with those closest to you struggling with this concept of, right, we're looking at the whole person, rather than looking at the disease and pulling on many resources to help improve health rather than just medication is sometimes really difficult to be supportive of, especially in spaces that involve the mind-body mentality.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, so do you have any kind of final closing remarks for somebody who may be new to functional medicine, who's still kind of learning and getting a feel for what it even is? Like any closing remarks, whatever they might be from your perspective and your experience.
Try not to put any structure to the learning process in the early phase. Meaning try not to set expectations for what it should be or what you've already read it to be and expect it to be. And really get real with yourself about what your role in it is going to be, right? It is a medicine, in my opinion, founded in service to others. Healthcare should be that. But in functional medicine, it really is about learning about a whole person and facilitating health on their terms, at their pace, through use of or sharing of your knowledge and working with them over time. And so while certainly there is a model that goes with that, and certainly there are systems and processes that define and support it, be open to really understanding the big picture of functional medicine and getting really clear about what your motivation is for participating in it.
Yes, I love all of that you just said, because if we don't know our motivation, we don't know really why we're doing it, or we're just doing it because our doctor told us we had to do it.
Yes.
We're really not going to do it. We're not going to care enough to make any change. And then, like you said, like there's plans and there's systems and there's really great things out there. But the fact is, we're all very unique individuals, and we all have different issues and struggles or lack thereof that, you know, in the beginning, just get to know it, you know, like experiment with your body. I remember hearing somebody say that, just like be willing to experiment with yourself. Like, how does this make me feel? Don't start a new diet just because somebody else says this is the best diet.
Right. And you know, to be frank, I answered that from a health coaching perspective, but you really just hit on the patient perspective of it as well, right? So functional medicine provides the opportunity for a patient or a client to really be an active participant in their wellness for the first time, really. Right. And that's not to undermine good doctors out there today in conventional medicine who are still doing that, because they exist, right? But you're right, it really is an opportunity for someone who is exploring functional medicine and feels like maybe that's a little hokey, I'm not sure I get it. Ask yourself what it is, as I say in my business, that you want more out of when it comes to life and health. And if you're getting it where you are, then functional medicine may not be for you. But if you really think there's opportunity, or even if you just hope that there's opportunity for you to get more out of your life and health, see it as a gamble. Take a risk, right? You can always go back, but be open to the possibility that there's more out there that you haven't even experienced yet.
Absolutely. I love that. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for taking time today just to chat with us and tell us a little bit about your story. I really appreciate that.
Appreciate the interview.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.